Hello everyone, good afternoon. Today we're going to start with getting started with Python, a set of slides. So let's get started. I'm going to talk first about Python programming language and why Python. We're not going to do the Python installation. Instead, I am going to walk you through using Google Colab. This is what we're going to use starting from this year on. And then we're going to talk a little bit about some introduction. I extended the introduction this year because the number of students who haven't taken any programming or statistics courses were much higher than the usual. So Python is a scripting language, a simple programming language that makes it easy to interact with data. It's more natural language, kind of programming script. And it has a wide range of packages right now that could be used. It actually can also be used for SEM, like structural equation modeling and so on. And it has a wide array of packages and built applications and built-in functions and so on. So it is one of the simplest programming languages that we could use for the very even complex techniques in data analytics. Python is widely used in the industry and it has become the de facto language for data science nowadays in the industry. R is another alternative language, and it has until last year or two I still used R because some of the packages in R were not yet introduced in Python, but right now I feel, to me, most of the things that I've been using R for could also be used with Python with currently introduced libraries and packages. So right now I kind of 100% shifted and switched to Python. However, I still use R. For example, I have written a very complex code for the confusion matrix. I just didn't have the time to rewrite the code again with Python, so I still use R whenever I have written some, or I have some codes already there with R, and I still don't have the time to rewrite the codes in Python, then I use R. Let's see how we progress this year. This year, I think with you guys, we're gonna just use Python. Last year, I used to teach my students Python by executing the code using the Jupyter notebook. With Python, we have either Jupyter, or we have also Spider, I think, yeah. So some of you may be aware of the Spider notebook. These are smart notebooks or iNotebooks, and there's also the Jupyter notebook. So this is what I used to use with my students back in the time. If you want to know more about these notebooks, and these are local notebooks, meaning you can use them on your local computer. They take space on your local computer. And however, I can't say that they are faster. The last time I checked, I felt maybe Google Colab wasn't that slow after all. Google Colab is now very competitive in case you have a very good internet connection. So if you have a very good internet connection, especially for those staying in Japan, please just use Google Colab. If you don't have a good internet connection, then why don't you download the Anaconda distribution first? So first of all, you need to install Anaconda Python. This is a YouTube video that it can walk you through the installation if you want to work with Python offline rather than online. And then download the Anaconda, and the resources to learn Python is over here for both those who working with Colab or Jupyter or Spider, whatever it is. Then you can also access this resource. As you can see here, this is documentation for Python. There's tutorials here and library references and so on. Okay, let's go on. So this is the interface for the Jupyter notebook. Please make sure that you have the Anaconda 3, which is the latest, and you can start a new notebook here. And here's the notebook, getting started with Python, with IPython notebook, and so on. Okay, for this semester, I'm gonna use with you guys the Google Colab or Google Colaboratory. With the Google Colaboratory, this is also a Jupyter kind of notebook. It's a free Jupyter notebook environment. It runs entirely online in the cloud. So this means your storage on your local computer will not be affected. However, you need a very good internet connection. And moreover, if you don't have a computer and you are, for example, on the Shinkansen or traveling on the train, going to your part-time job, you have some time to kill and you want to just finish an assignment, then you can just grab your iPad and connect online and start working on the assignment. So this is really awesome because with iPads in general, you can't really download much of the heavy applications like the conventional and traditional Spider or Anaconda distribution. So this is one of the very good advantages of using Google Colab. Another good advantage that you might not understand right now if I explain it to you is the idea of installing some of the packages. You have to install certain packages sometimes, and every time you are using Google, for example, which one that got me into trouble actually? The last one was the something with the neural networks. I forgot the name of the package. It was, anyway, it's something that we don't do here often, which has to do with the analyzing image processing. I forgot the name of it, I'm sorry. And then this is where I got to know about Google Colab. There was things were not working very smooth with me installing certain prerequisites for using that package. So for that purpose, I just started knowing about Google Colab, and with Google Colab I didn't need to install any of the prerequisites for that package. So basically with Google Colab there's a lot of things that we don't really need to install as we do with the traditional Jupyter notebook. Okay, so let's get started. How do we get started? Basically we go to colab.research.google.com, and this is where I also have it on our page, on our course page, and that would be week 10. And over here you have here the first. So I have Google Colab link. So let's get started here. This is Google Colab, easy peasy. Don't have to install anything on your computer. And once you have this dialog, you have two options. You can create a new notebook. All right. So this is a very interesting option, creating a new notebook. And this is what we're going to do right now together in class. But let's say that I have a notebook that I created back in the time, or the professor has shared with me her notebook. So what happens is you can actually open up this notebook. Getting started with Python, for example, you can open up this notebook with the upload. So you can drag and drop easily. For example, this is a Python notebook. It is .py. So this is a Python notebook. I just drag it and drop it. It's error. Okay. It should be IPython. Okay. A smart notebook. So it's okay. So in any case, I will talk about it in a bit. So we can upload a notebook over here. And this is if you have a notebook in your Google Drive somewhere and you would like to open it, then you can actually even open up here this notebook. So this is the notebook that we're going to work with. This is my material for today, but for you guys, you're gonna start a new file. What if you mistakenly opened up whatever file here, a new open? So you have file, and new. Let me just walk you through the interface. So here's the interface for Google Colab. As you can see, here you have Untitled 5. I recommend that you give it a name and call it Getting Started with Python. So this will be Getting Started with Python. As you can see, it is IPyNB, okay? So not PY, which is Python, but Python. Okay, so over here, as you can see, you have the top menu. With the top menu, we have File. You can create a new notebook or open a notebook. Also here, you can upload a notebook, okay? So you can open a notebook. You can upload a notebook directly here, okay? And you can rename. So if you want to rename this notebook, you can basically here, jumped here. You can, usually when we want to save this notebook, it's already saved, but if you want to save a copy of it, you can save a copy in Drive. I do have a GitHub, but I haven't used it in a while. GitHub is basically a very, is now, has become one of the standards. It was really new when I started working with it. It has this very cute, let me see if I still have it. Yeah, I still have my account. Oh, it's been a while I haven't logged in, so now they want me to verify the account. So in any case, I will show you more about this in due course, but for this course we are going to just focus on saving a copy in the Drive. Here's save, Control S as usual, and we are going to also focus on how to save this in a file. For example, I want to save this in a certain file, so I can download it, and I suggest you download it as IPython. Actually, it could be also downloaded as .py, so you can use it on your local device. Here you can use it again and open it again with Python. Of course, if you wanna, for example, I might share most of the code with you, and if you are wondering how did I go about sharing the code as a PDF, I gonna print it, save it as a PDF. So this way I can share the code with you and you won't be able to copy and paste easily. I want to push you and force you to work with the interface on your own. Okay, so this is most of it for the file. These we are going to talk about it in due course. As for now, I would like to get your attention to the idea that here over each container here you can add a code, and this is, as you can see, the code has a button, and you can run the code by clicking on this button, and as it is running it keeps revolving around and you have to wait for it until it's done, and you can see it has the green check. Also, you can add a text, so this we can call this, let's call it together, this we call it getting started with Python. Okay, so now you want to put it as a heading, so now it's bigger. If you get rid of this, for example, the hashtag, you see it's smaller. So now with this, it is bigger. Let's say that you would like to have it as you wanna make it bold. So basically this is now bolded. Okay, now getting started with Python. So this is how you work with formatting the text. Here is the preview of the text. Okay, so now getting started with Python. I'm not gonna start today. Right now in this video, I'm sorry, not today, but in this video, the next video we can start together. So over here, we're going to talk a little bit about the sections of the code later when we have some code written. Over here, you can see that you can have some code snippets here and so on, but you can get rid of that if you want. So you can just get rid of that. We're going to talk about it in due course. This is the command palette, so you have different commands here. This is for later. So for now, let's just take a look at this also. This is the different variables that you already declared in the file, but we're going to talk about this in due course. So for now, let's just focus on the code here, and this is the text. And if you are going to open a new file, open a new notebook, or start a new notebook, it is from there. If you want to save it, it's Control S. And if you want to save a copy of it, like you want to save another copy of it to practice on, then you have save a copy in Drive. And if you want to download it and keep it on your folder here as a file like this, you can just file and download and keep it there. All right, I'll see you then in the next video, and we're gonna get started with learning a little bit about the comments and talking a little bit about the print function, which is a very important function, and then talk a little bit about advanced printing. I'll see you in the next video.